The arithmetic of attachment, a phenomenology of accumulated absence, author's note. What follows is a first-person meditation, a ledger of the soul. It is not a clinical study, but an existential reckoning. I write from the intersection of social psychology and philosophy, from the raw data of a lived experiment in connection. I was born into a chorus, a big happy family, a warm, noisy organism where identity was a collective project. Love was not a scarce resource, but an ambient condition like weather. This I see now as my foundational myth, the thesis that connection is infinite, that the heart's capacity expands linearly, even exponentially, to meet the supply of affection. From that crowded cradle, I learned the grammar of amiability. Being popular wasn't an achievement. It was a thermodynamics, a natural diffusion of the familial warmth into the wider world. In the service industry, I found a perfect ecology. Here was a structured, endless stream of humanity, a chance to perform brief, beautiful symphonies of interaction. A smile, a remembered name, a moment of genuine care for a stranger. Each shift was a harvest of micro-connections. And so I moved, a gypsy of belonging. Every new town, every new social scene was a fresh field to be tilled. High school never ended, it just scaled. The world was a series of welcoming committees waiting to be discovered. I mastered the art of the fast, deep bond, the sharing of a life story over a single drink, the feeling of years of friendship compressed into weeks. I collected people, experiences, vignettes of souls. Statistically, yes, I knew more people. This is a mathematical truth. Here lies the first philosophical paradox. The law of large numbers, applied to the heart, guarantees both greater sums of love and greater sums of loss. To fall in love more is to volunteer for heartbreak more. Each new person was a new world, and to love them was to hold that world in orbit around your own. But orbits decay. People move, priorities shift. Bonds that felt tectonic prove to be sedimentary, worn away by the slow river of time and distance. Each parting, each fading, each outright betrayal for trust, given freely and widely, is inevitably placed in some flawed vessels, was a subtraction. The ledger of the soul began to show a troubling column. Not just credits of joy, but debits of grief. My family, that original chorus, began to diminish. One by one, the voices fell silent. The happy crowd of my origin story became a photograph, then a memory, then a haunting. Each death was not just a loss of an individual, but a demolition of a piece of my architecture. They were my witnesses, and without witnesses, does a self remain coherent? And now, at 50, the arithmetic reveals its final sum. The friendliest man lives with a dog and a feral colony of cats, creatures who accept care but never demand the profound, perilous reciprocity of a human heart. The connections are all virtual, existing through wires only, a constellation of pixels and memories. These are loved ones, yes, but they are loved ones in the subjunctive mood. They would be here, could be reached, but are not present in the flesh, in the silence sharing, space occupying way that mends the fractures of being. I am, as you described, an actual old man and orphan, with tons of loved ones. This is the core of the existential contradiction. I am relationally rich and phenomenologically alone. The wires hum with the ghosts of my social universe, but my porch is quiet. The philosophy here is stark. Attachment is the negotiation of a future loss. To love is to pre-grieve. The more one loves, the more one has pre-grieved. My life was a strategy of diversification. Don't put all your emotional capital in one relationship. Spread the risk. But I failed to account for the cumulative toll of micro-bereavements, the slow accretion of absence. The heart can break not just in a single catastrophic shatter, but in a million hairline fractures until it is all fault line. Jaded is the wrong word. It implies a cynicism I do not possess. I am not cynical. I am arithmetically weary. I have reached the limits of the expansion hypothesis. The heart, I have learned, is not infinitely elastic. It can be distended by so much loving and so much losing that it can no longer return to its original form. It hangs limp, capacious but exhausted, full of echoes. And so we arrive at the universal solitary terminus. No matter who you are and the life you live, you in the end die alone. This is the inescapable logic of individual consciousness. My life's experiment in hyperconnection was, in part, a rebellion against this truth, a desperate attempt to prove that through sheer volume of bonds, one could weave a net so thick it would catch you, surround you, and prevent that final aloneness. It was a beautiful failure. The net exists. It is vast and intricate and spans continents. But I'm not caught in it. I'm the one who wove it. And now I sit at its edge, in the country quiet, holding the threads. They tug with memories, with digital pulses of regard. But the threads are not arms. The wires are not a hand to hold. I am left with a conclusion that is both tragic and oddly peaceful. We are not made less alone by the quantity of our loves, but by the quality of our acceptance of love's necessary solitude. My life of cheerful accumulation was a grand, prolonged dance away from this acceptance. Now the music has faded. I am left with the silence, the cats, the dog, the whispering wires, and the profound, unshared knowledge that the friendly ghost in this old house is me. The experiment is over. The data is in. The hypothesis that more love equals less aloneness is disproven. Yet I cannot regret the experiment. For in disproving it, I proved something else. That a life soaked through with affection, even if it ultimately evaporates, leaves a permanent stain of meaning. I am that stain. Lonely but indelibly colored by love.